Welcome to the Unraveling Scriptures channel. Today, we will delve into the intriguing narrative of Nimrod, an enigmatic figure whose legacy transcends the pages of the Bible. Join us on this epic journey, uncovering the influence of this man who, as the book of Genesis recounts, was the grandson of Ham and great-grandson of Noah. His story is a captivating tale of power, challenges, and mysticism. Before we proceed, we invite you to share our video, allowing more people to join us in each discovery and study of the Scriptures. Learn more about Nimrod, the sovereign responsible for the construction of the Tower of Babel, often associated with the first Antichrist. Thus died Nimrod, the king who built the Tower of Babel, the first Antichrist. As we explore Genesis chapter 10, we are introduced to Nimrod, highlighted as one of the first notable post-Diluvian leaders. His lineage is so rich and deep that it resonates in the stories of Babel and the attempted assassination of Abraham. But who was this man who challenged the heavens by raising the Tower of Babel? Described as a skillful hunter before the Lord, he established his kingdom in Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar, a region of great prosperity and, at the same time, post-Diluvian challenges. With a bold spirit, Nimrod not only founded cities but also forged a civilization. His saga continues with the expansion into Assyria, where he erected civilization monuments like Nineveh, which became icons of progress and, paradoxically, moral decay. These cities, marked by idolatrous practices, reflect human complexity and the clash between faith and ambition. Biblical accounts draw an intriguing parallel between Nimrod's cities and the early foundations of Cain's lineage before the flood. These references go beyond mere geographical landmarks, they are testimonies of humanity's first attempts to create order in post-cataclysmic chaos. The fertile land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers promised prosperity but also concealed dangers in the form of wild animals, threatening the peaceful existence of the people. Nimrod, with his dark skin inherited from Cush and his imposing stature, stood out as a protector and provider, an almost mythical figure who dominated and united his people against natural threats. His influence was so vast that even today his name evokes stories of bravery and power. His reign, consolidated in strength and hunting prowess, is emblematic of human desire for security in social structure. Under his leadership, the first organized societies emerged, along with the concept of a unified kingdom under a monarch. Nimrod's legacy goes beyond physical strength. His shrewdness in leading people and establishing an organized kingdom is a testament to his vision. Under his command and leadership, fortified cities rose, providing refuge and prosperity under the protective shadows of their towering walls. Why settle for dispersion when unity can be achieved? This was Nimrod's philosophy. He not only proposed but executed the construction of fortresses not just as protective measures but as symbols of a kingdom seeking something beyond mere survival. His aspiration was to leave an indelible mark on human history. The Bible immortalizes Nimrod not only as the architect of cities but as the founder of an empire that challenged the heavens themselves with the Tower of Babel, an act of audacity that resonates to this day. In a time when the world was still recovering from the ravages of a cataclysmic flood, Nimrod emerged as a monument to human resilience. In the lands of Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, fertilized by the receded waters of the Great Flood, he erected a kingdom recognized by the Bible as the first mentioned in its sacred scriptures. This kingdom was not just a marker of power but a testimony to human ingenuity and audacity. However, Nimrod's stature was not measured solely by the extent of his territorial conquests or the prestige of his architectural feats. Scripture warns us about his rebellious spirit, as he was a mighty hunter before the Lord, a phrase in Hebrew carrying connotations of tyranny. The term Jibber reflects the image of a tyrant, and Nimrod's translation evokes rebellion. This historical figure, described by the Jewish Encyclopedia as someone who incited rebellion against the divine, emerged as a herald of idolatrous and repugnant practices. In the dark pages of history, He is often regarded as the prototype of the Antichrist, embodying the opposite of monotheistic values. Tradition also tells us about Semiramis, his wife, who, after Nimrod's death, was exalted to divinity by the Babylonians. In those times, access to nobility was secured through sacrifices, and accounts mention rituals involving human sacrifices, a gruesome tribute to ensure privileges and favors. The worship of Moloch, where children were believed to be sacrificed by fire, was an expression of adoration that generated division among the Babylonians, some agreeing, others refuting, culminating in Nimrod's eventual death. The consequences of these acts resonated through generations, leaving a legacy of shadows and mysteries in Nimrod's lineage and the construction of the Tower of Babel. In this context, we find the primordial human conflict between vanity and transcendence. Flavius Josephus, the historian, suggests that Nimrod built the tower not only as a fortress against future floods but as an act of divine vengeance, a challenge thrown to the heavens. The reason for the original flood, as recalled in Genesis, was human wickedness and rebellion. By proceeding with the tower's construction, Nimrod continued this legacy of disobedience, refusing to acknowledge divine authority and persuading his people that their prosperity resulted from their own hands, not a higher power. Nimrod's pride and persuasion serve as a primordial example of what happens when humanity deviates from a genuine connection with the divine. The biblical narrative invites us to reflect on the true source of our prosperity and action in the world. The climax of the Tower of Babel story reveals a God who intervenes to thwart human plans. The confusion of languages imposed by the Creator is not simply a punishment but a course correction, a demonstration that no human project, however grand, can prevail over divine will. The dispersion of languages and peoples is a potent reminder of God's sovereignty over all things and that true human strength lies in the ability to live in harmony with divine designs rather than trying to supplant them. In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, where mighty rivers inscribed the fate of emerging civilizations, Nimrod, the priest-king of Babylon, concludes his earthly journey after 2015 years. The dramatic end of Nimrod, as narrated by legends and stories interwoven with the fabric of scriptures, is marked by a macabre and symbolic act, the dismemberment of his body. This practice, found in the Bible in Judges 19 verse 29 and 1 Samuel 11 verse 7, foreshadows the dispersal of his legacy after his death. His widow, the enigmatic Semiramis, ascends as regent of the Babylonian throne. In her, mythology and history intertwine even more densely, proclaiming Nimrod as a solar deity. In a power maneuver conceived in the ancient halls of power, Semiramis skillfully transforms her sins, betrayal and adultery, into myth. Her newborn son, Tammuz, is presented as the incarnation of Nimrod, engendering a cycle of deification and immortality. In the fertile territory of Babel, later recognized as Babylon, the remarkable Sumerian civilization emerged, predating the Great Flood. This civilization stood out for its sudden and advanced knowledge in laws, urban planning, writing, and multidisciplinary wisdom, witnessing human genius at the dawn of time. Later recognized as Babylon, this civilization sequentially influenced Egypt, etching its history as the oldest known civilization. However, Babylon also became synonymous with practices that future generations would condemn: idolatry, divination, enchantments, and a myriad of transgressions against divine law. The names of Nimrod and Babylon reverberate through the ages as symbols of moral and spiritual decline, their fame persisting in various facets of cultures and mythologies around the world. Nimrod, whose echo can be found in heroic figures like Gilgamesh and Hercules, permeates the collective imagination not only as a mere historical character but as an archetype of the hero challenging the gods. Stories told in Midrash, Jewish texts exploring biblical interpretation, mention his opposition to patriarchal figures like Abraham. While the historicity of these encounters remains shrouded in mystery, in this narrative of power, rebellion, and divinity, what stands out is the extraordinary ability of a figure to influence both history and mythology, and humanity's perception of the sacred and the profane. Nimrod, whether as a tyrant monarch, God, or Antichrist, invites us to reflect on our own understanding of the divine and the complexity of human history. As we close this chapter of history, we are invited to meditate on these passages of the Bible that not only narrate events but also shape our perception of civilization, culture, and faith over millennia. His story is a window into understanding human ascent and its endless quests for meaning and power. Were you already familiar with Nimrod's story? Leave your comments here, and remember to like and share our video. We appreciate those of you who watched our video until this point, and may God bless you. See you soon.